This is Austin Real Estate Investing. Austin Real Estate Investing. We'll be discussing real estate investing in Austin, Texas, and bringing you experts from all different sectors of the real estate game. Your host, Jordan Moorhead, is a real estate agent and investor in Austin and is here to help you get started or to build your portfolio and explore new strategies.
Hi, this is Jordan Moorhead with the Moorhead team, and this is Austin Real Estate Investing. Today we have Jamie Gruber on here. Jamie Gruber is a real estate investor, and he also runs Gobundance Emerge and Ascend programs. And he's going to tell us all about how he's doing real estate, Gobundance Emerge and Ascend, and all the other stuff he's up to. Hey, Jamie, how are you?
Going on, brother? Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Real quick, who are you and how are you involved with real estate investing, just to start this thing out?
I am a Renaissance man. Now, let's see. So I'm a recovering W-2 guy, right? So my whole life I had spent in the insurance claims industry. I worked for a large national insurance company in the claims department, and I climbed that ladder. Took me from New York to Boston, Boston to Michigan. And, once I kind of topped out in this executive position, I found that I was not at all fulfilled by it. Thought that was what I wanted, thought that was the dream, thought that was what it was going to be. And it was none of the above. So now I'm in Michigan. I don't really know anybody. My family's here. My wife and my one son at the time. We've had a second since. But I did have this little tie into real estate. I had a single family back in New York, a couple duplexes that we bought just as we were moving because I listened to Bigger Pockets and thought, real estate sounds interesting and all of that. So we're burying these two properties as I'm miserable at my day job, going through like this depression and just funk. I couldn't get off. I couldn't go to sleep. I couldn't stay asleep. It was just an awful, awful year. Tough boss, all of that stuff, just not great. But I found, real estate was the one thing that sort of lit me up a bit. I was like excited about what was happening, even when like a sewer pipe busted or anything. It was still more interesting and more appealing to me than dealing with the analysis required and the whole entire thing in insurance claims. I mean, I had a big team, I had all that, but it just wasn't fulfilling for me. So that was 2017, 2018. Once I did those two properties, it was like, man, I live in Michigan now, which is way more affordable from an investment property standpoint, good cash flow market. And buying duplexes is, it's a lot of work. So why not buy like 8 units or 10 units with one purchase? So I found a partner. We bought a 16 unit together here in Michigan. That led to a 22 unit that we bought with a couple of other partners in Cleveland. And then actually we were on the doorstep of closing another 22 unit that we had under contract within the last 8 months, maybe. And thanks to Gobundance, you mentioned Gobundance Emerge and Ascend. I'm a member of Gobundance. I met a guy named Mark Henteman. Mark is known for being a writer for Family Guy. I know he's been on the show, I think, right, Jordan? So yep. Mark's been on Family Guy. He's an amazing dude. We really jived and connected. He needed a kind of a marketing presence, investor relations presence. So instead of closing on that 22 unit, we instead, my partner and I both went on to be partners with Mark in Quantum Capital, his company, and we've been syndicating. So we raised our first fund that just closed as of the time that we're recording this a few weeks ago. And we're talking about, hey, great, we got 5 properties in that fund, on to fund 2. What is that going to look like whenever we open that? And I'm just kind of learning and growing in the syndication space. So single family duplex to small multi to now syndication is kind of my path in real estate.
Love it. And you talked a little bit about, you started buying these smaller buildings and you just jumped ship to go work with a team who was buying bigger buildings, really a company that's going to do much bigger things than you're able to do on your own or even with a few partners.
Yep.
Where did that mindset shift come from for, hey, I'm going to leave having a lot of control and I'm going to go into something much bigger than me that's going to do a lot more than I'm ever going to do on my own?
It came from being a part of Gobundance, just being around the right people. And what I mean is, it's kind of an if you can't beat them, join them type of attitude. So look, I'm a small fish, right? I buy a 16 unit. I have a partner, and that was a big leap. Like, what if I screw this guy's life up? What if I do something stupid and bankrupt us, including him? Like, that was hard to get over. So the idea of then, going with like a real operator, like a big time operator, had that equal sort of like worry and mindset or whatever. But I learned a couple of things. Like, first off, I understood that to try to buy even from 2017, 18 to 2020, 2021, God, the stuff that's any good is gobbled up. The people that have the credibility, the ability to close, that the deep relationships, they've been doing it for years and years and years at volume, they're getting those deals. We, you, me, other guys like us, we're getting like the third or fourth run of that deal, going through different lists and maybe LoopNet before we even see it, right? So it was really hard to find those types of deals. So for me, it was a bit of an intentional thing. Like, okay, I got to know Mark. So you study this operator, you figure out you're aligned on values. Look, I'm buying value add mom and pop real estate in Michigan, Ohio, or, I bought a little bit of it. He's buying value add mom and pop real estate, but in Austin, in Denver, in LA, in growth markets. So it was like, okay, well, we align on what we're buying. I mean, he's done a lot more than I have. And actually, I kind of like that he's doing the same model, but where you don't only get the benefit of forced appreciation, but you also get the benefit of market appreciation. I don't get that in Michigan, Ohio, like a little bit, but it's nowhere near what you get out, in the markets that Quantum is in and now I'm in with him. So that was one, like, study this operator. That was step one for me. Step two was, invest in him, invest with him. So I put in first time, getting to know him in Gobundance, helping him connect with new guys that, might want to invest in the types of deals he was doing. And then I eventually invested money with Quantum in the fund that I ended up coming on as a partner on. So, investing time and money. And then, like the partnership part was like, I'm beating myself. Like the 22 unit we had under contract that I wholesaled, which is still not quite finalized, but soon, hopefully. Like, it was a deal, kind of like it was an okay deal. Like we were looking at like, man, if things go 90% right, we'll be okay. Like that was the mindset of it, right? It wasn't like, oh, dude, even if we're half wrong, we're still cool. It's like, if it goes 90% right, we'll be okay. So if it goes any less than that, like maybe not so okay, right? And then we're looking at deals like one we had, and it actually fell out of contract, but it was in Scottsdale, Arizona with Quantum, and it was like $800 below market on rents. I mean, the stuff he was finding, the stuff that brokers bring to him ain't the stuff brokers are bringing to me. So it was like, if we're buying the same stuff, he's got the competitive advantage. People know him. He's well capitalized. He's closed a bunch of property, all of that stuff. Like, I got to get on that train, because right now, this market for guys like me, I mean, you can find stuff, sure, but I'm getting boxed out way too often. If I want to grow and scale, I'd rather have a small piece of something big than sit on my laurels and just have, all of something small. So that was the mindset shift.
Yeah. And we talk about that a lot on this podcast of, having a small piece of something big versus having the whole pie of something small. And we talked about, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together, on a recent podcast I've recorded. And I think that's so important. I think something else we haven't touched on is, if you're doing it on your own, you're doing all the work on your own, not just the stuff that you're really good at, like you're talking about. You're doing everything, even the stuff you're terrible at, the stuff that you really don't like doing. And I think that can be a lot more work, and it can slow your life down a lot more than just saying, hey, I want a piece of this. I'm probably going to do a lot better. It's like Shark Tank. You bring a shark on, you get the Shark Tank effect. You get the shark it's adding into your business. You get the exposure. You get all these great things, and your business is 10x compared to you held on to the whole thing, and you just keep incrementally going up. Maybe you went up 5% one year and 10% the next year. Whereas if you brought on the right partner, you might 10x in a year. And that's exactly what you did with joining Quantum Capital. And
leaning into what you're great. I love that point. And look, the point you made a moment ago, I like that old saying, if you go together, you go farther, alone, you go faster. At least in the niche that I'm in, value add multifamily acquisition, like I think you go faster and farther together nowadays, right? Like it used to be the case, like you go faster because you could do things, but I mean, I can move a lot in place. I could gyrate, me, I'm a freaking, massive energy, but nothing's happening. Like nothing's coming my way. That's investable. And even if it is, like I said, 90% of it goes well, we'll be okay kind of thing. Whereas with him, man, we've got in the one fund, we've closed 5 deals. Funds closed. We just got another deal that'll close in a couple of months. We're deciding, is it in fund 2? Is it a standalone syndication? But faster and farther for sure. But to your point about leaning into what you're great at, I think, especially if you're new to this, and I still am, but especially if you're really new to this, right? Bigger Pockets teaches you all the things. So, real estate becomes sexy, right? Okay, $100 a door, $10,000 a month, we get 100 doors, whatever. Right? All that stuff becomes really sexy. And you learn all these things like how to underwrite a deal. And there's tools for that. Hey, here's the Bigger Pockets Pro tools. You learn how to underwrite, how do you raise capital? Like you're learning all these things, right? When I bought my first property, the 2 duplexes and really the 16 unit, I learned 2 things. One, real estate's amazing. What it does, the potential of it, all of that. And we weren't even really cash flowing at that point, right? We're starting to now. It takes a little bit sometimes on value add property to truly cash flow. Mm-hmm. But second, I don't like operations. I hate it. I don't want to manage property. I don't want to deal with tenants. I don't want to deal with maintenance issues. I don't want to do any of that stuff, right? So for me, where I'm great is a completely different skill set, and leaning into that is important. So I've niched this down, right? I think there's 3 superpowers that people have that can apply to real estate. And this isn't like you have visionaries. I think you have to earn your way up to being the visionary once you've gotten yourself to a point where you're, okay, I oversee everything and I have all the people in place to do the work for me. But there's 3 superpowers. You're either, and you could be a combination, but I believe people are either like an analyzer type. Like, they enjoy being in the sheet, doing the underwriting, even perfecting the formulas in that sheet. And then they'll go home and they'll study for 3 months the next car they want to buy on like Edmunds.com, right? Like that's the analyzer. That guy or gal loves that, right? Put them in a room with a bunch of people, they can do it, but they need alone time after. Analyzer, that's their skill set. Or you have the integrator, the person who can literally take the vision. They can see the field. They're the general. They can lay it out and they can knock it down. Like they're that field general that knows exactly what the next operational steps are, and they can see 5-6 steps ahead. They love that. Like, man, I know how to navigate this all the way to the end, right? So that's the integrator. So you're either an analyzer, an integrator, or me, connector. That to me is the 3rd superpower. Somebody who's a networker connector, who enjoys being in a room with people, who can walk into a room with 300 people and meet all of them. Even if I didn't get to know or remember their names, I can meet all of them, right? Like I enjoy that aspect. And there is so much value. I call them each superpowers in each and every one of those different skills or those different gifts that people have. So for me, being a connector, I get to have my role in real estate be investor relations, talking to people, capital raising, talking to people, and marketing, right? Putting out stuff on social media, content. You could probably tell if you're listening or watching from my vibe. Yeah, I'm a talkative dude. So I like putting stuff out there. I get to do that. Nick in my team, or on the team, a partner of mine, he deals with operations and he's really good at it. Nick doesn't want to be on a Instagram reel. He'll get on an investor relations call. I mean, it's not that he can't do that or I can't do the analysis or the integrating part, but it drains me. It saps my energy. And my real estate became heavy when I was trying to do all things. And when I found my business partner in that, and then partnering with Mark and being able to lean into my skill set, I think that's where you can also sort of accelerate that faster and farther mentality that we just talked about.
Love it. And Nick's been on this podcast too. Nick was probably 30 or 40 episodes ago.
You go, bro. He's now in.
Oh, awesome. So that's a good segue. Obviously you love to talk to people, you love to get out there and market. But you're also very big into mindset and very big into finding the right group. And clearly Gobundance has taken you a lot further than you would have gone on your own. Tell us about Gobundance Emerge and Gobundance Ascend.
Yeah. So about a year and a half ago, the guys that founded Gobundance said, hey, look, we've got all these people that listen to Bigger Pockets or whatever. They hear about Gobundance and they're like, man, one day I'm going to be in that group when I hit the $1 million net worth mark or whatever. But there's so many people that like, we think we could throw the rope down and help out and kind of getting there faster, to your point, build something for them to get there faster and further. So they just said, hey, look, I had a community, a networking community that I had built at the time. And they're like, you like this stuff? Do you want to do it? I'm like, absolutely, all day. That's what I really love. Real estate is amazing what it does. But what I really love, like you said, is let's dive in. Let's help people break through, overcome limiting beliefs, figure out clarity on their vision and goals, all that stuff. So we built it as a course called Emerge that you can graduate from and go to a mastermind called Ascend. And Ascend is essentially Gobundance without the $1 million requirement. Emerge is the gateway there. So Gobundance requires you to have $1 million. Ascend requires you to go through Emerge is essentially the way to look at it, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, what emerges, it's a 12-week goal setting and I guess mastermind and course, and it's built off the book Tribe of Millionaires, which if you're watching is over my shoulder up there. But Tribe of Millionaires was written by the guys that founded Gobundance. It's a great story. It's a quick read if anybody wants to read it, and it goes through the power of these different effects like connection and influence and proximity and all these different things. So we took each of those effects and we made modules out of them. And on the front of that, we put a module in about how you create a vision, like really, really tactically. How do you set a goal? And then that week 2, you set a goal that you're going to accomplish by the end of the 12 weeks. So we want you to have transformation in that time. Then you go through habits and we give you tools on how you can create and stack new habits over bad ones. And then lastly, we give you a full planning regimen. Like we teach you how to plan so that, great. I got a vision. I got goals. I got these habits. But if you don't have a consistently executable plan that you can dive in on and use on a week-to-week basis, it's hard to drive forward. So all great content. We go through module by module over the 12 weeks and help people get there. But the true value is, once you're in a community like this, even though it's a course, it's a mastermind, these folks being around other like-minded people, like, I have my job, but I really resonate with being a real estate investor and trying to talk to my coworkers or my family about this. Like, I can't go there. It's just the conversation gets awkward. They find this like relief. Oh my God, all these people that are here, like I can talk to them oddly in one conversation in ways I can't talk to everybody in my regular community, in my family and friend community. So that's to me the real value. And then we have a millionaire case study every Tuesday night. So guys like Jordan or whomever come in and we do a full Q&A, 60, 90 minutes. It's so much fun. Just dissecting their success, what they do, how they got there, all of that stuff. We do a hangout. We have Diego. You mentioned Diego Corzo earlier when we were talking. Comes in Thursday morning and does like a motivational, informative 15 to 20 minute talk, right? So we got all this live components to it, but the value of it is you get a cadence, you get structure, and you get a community that help you get to where you want to be. And that's, to me, that's been everything for me. So everything I've learned in Gobundance, everything that's happened in my life, going from W-2 to not W-2 to now traveling at months at a time, which I think, I just got back from the Dominican for a month. Like all that lifestyle freedom I've been able to develop is because I was around people who thought that way in Gobundance. And we've just taken that and created an emerge and ascend. And other than a net worth number, it's all the same. It's still like-minded people driving each other. So
just for everybody listening, you don't need it. There is no certain net worth number or requirement to join Emerge. You just have to have the desire, correct?
Yeah, 100%. In fact, yes, correct. And we've had about 7 or 8 guys and gals, it's co-ed, join Emerge that were qualified for Gobundance or for Gobundance Women, but they were just like, I don't know. I've never been in this. What is it, like Illuminati? I don't know what this is. So I'm not sure I'm ready to like dump the money and the time into this big, millionaire mastermind. So let me check out this Emerge thing. And it's funny how it's become, even for them, like every one of them joined Gobundance afterward. But yeah, no minimum required. It's literally like Emerge is a course that's going to help you get to where you want to get to in a specific goal within 12 weeks. And you're going to get a new community of people, 0 barrier to entry except paying for it. And then if you graduate that, we'll invite you to Ascend, where we do group coaching on purpose and unlocking you. And we've got all these different features and events, and it's amazing. It's amazing. So yeah, that's what we're doing.
So I think we would be leaving something on the table if we left out exactly what Gobundance is. So a lot of people know it's a mastermind. There's Gobundance Elite and Gobundance Champions. You want to explain a little more about what Gobundance is and why people should even look into a mastermind in general?
Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff out there that's curriculum based, but community to me is the new currency. It's so easy nowadays in the electronic world and the digital world to find other people that are like you. So I'm on the men's side. So I'll speak from a men's perspective. This is how I describe it. Gobundance is like, okay, look, I want real estate. I want to move into that neighborhood, because in that neighborhood, there's like the quality of neighbors I want to be around, and my family, I want them to be around. And there's certain amenities in that neighborhood that I want access to. That's Gobundance. I want to move into a neighborhood with millionaire entrepreneurial men who want to be the best version of themselves as husbands, fathers, spiritually, health-wise, contribution, not just making a bunch of money, but like all those pillars of life. I want to have fun. I want to have adventure, right? I move into that community, and look, there's these micro tribes and these pods and these local chapters and these events and all these amenities that you could partake in any one of those, all high value, whatever works for you. That's what Gobundance is. You get around that And now all of a sudden things are a little bit different. Like, the way you talk, the things you learn, the people you get connected to, all of that accelerate because you're in this neighborhood of people that you want to be around, just like if you were buying a piece of real estate. And then it's really up to you. Like, go meet the neighbors. Like, meet as many as you want. Like, I meet every neighbor. That's my personality. My pod, some guys like to meet just the guy across the street, the guy on the right, the guy on the left. That's all they want to know, right? But that's how they get the most value, by that intimacy. So Gobundance is really this neighborhood of entrepreneurial men or women that have a certain net worth level, that live a certain way and want a certain thing, that you get to surround yourself by and sort of catch the draft of all of that to accelerate your life, So that's, I think, the best way I can make the analogy of Gobundance.
And I think it's important to mention too that you don't need to be an entrepreneur to be in.
True.
So
entrepreneurial.
When you joined, you were not yet. I mean, very shortly after, and I think that happens to a lot of people. They join and they want to leave their W-2. They want to start a business. They want to go full time into real estate investing, and they just don't see really how they could do that. They join and say, "Hey, Jamie did it. All these other people did it. I can do that too." And I think, isn't there a leaving your W-2 micro tribe now?
That was great for me. Yeah. I was in that. I've since jumped out since I left my W-2, but all the guys that are W-2 are in there. Like I said, great point. It's not high net worth male entrepreneurs. It's entrepreneurial men, meaning like they have the spirit. May not be there. I was a W-2 guy. I was conditioned to be that. And I went with it for 21 years. Right. But yeah, it's entrepreneurial minded. So yeah, the leaving your W-2 tribe was great. Like, what about health insurance? What about, what do I do with my 401k? All that stuff, including how do I get over this? How do I transition? What's the right time to make the jump? Like, how much passive income should I have? Or, do I do things a little bit differently? Like that micro tribe is amazing for guys that have W-2s.
Absolutely. And I would say there's so much content or so many things you can do within a mastermind like Gobundance. You almost have to pick and choose. I know if I was in every micro tribe that I was interested in,
no way.
I couldn't run a business. I couldn't invest in real estate. It's just so much to do. You have to be focused on what you want, but just by being around these groups of people, you get to figure out what you want. Hey guys, this is Jordan Moorhead here, and I wanted to ask if you could do a huge favor for me. If you could go leave a review for this podcast wherever you're listening to it, that would really help me get this into the hands of other people that are interested in information about Austin real estate investing, and I'd be able to help more people. Thanks, guys. Yeah, I always say, guys say like, oh, I don't have time. It's like, that's a story. There's a lot. If you look at, I got to do all this stuff, then nobody has time. No one has time to sit on. God, how many calls a month do we have with some speaker that comes in? Like 8, 10, there's all those. There's, the wives community for wives that want to join that. There's all these different things. But I always say, look, get a pod, dive in with that pod, really help one another unlock from an accountability standpoint and drive forward. Pick a micro tribe, and then look on a drive, have the numbers in your phone and call some guys from time to time. Like, just immerse yourself 2-3 hours a week of time spent, and you'll get a lot of value. That's what I do. I do emerge and ascend. That's time where I'm building that, or I'm with Quantum. Like, my time in Gobundance, I do the events and, my pod. I mean, that's really most of what I do. I'll jump in the Facebook group from time to time, and that's about it. Yeah. There's so much out there. You really have to figure out what's best for you. So Jamie, what initially attracted you to real estate investing? We really didn't get into that, where you bought a single family, obviously to live in New York, and you bought 2 duplexes. You said you've been listening to Bigger Pockets, but how did you come across Bigger Pockets, and why did you start wanting to invest in real estate? I didn't really want to start. I bought that single family in New York in 2005 and then moved to Boston in 2008, and I couldn't sell it. And I hated that damn house forever. It was like this burden. It made some money for me, or at least I wasn't losing money. That's always how I looked at it. But it was just this, like, I just want to get rid of that so I can focus on my job that I moved out to Boston for. So for 10 years or 11 years, that was it. And it's funny, I left in 2021, and it took moving to Michigan for me to feel that like emptiness of like, this isn't what I want to do. But when I look back at when I really put my head down, driving toward the job I eventually got in Michigan, 5-6 years before I was checking out. So it was around then that I was thinking about already, almost subconsciously, like not aggressively, but just kind of curious. Like, if I wasn't doing this, what would I do? And the idea of another job just didn't appeal to me. So when you start Googling, like, leaving your job and stuff like that, even back then you could Google,
real estate investing came up. And when you started to Google real estate investing, kudos to Josh Dorkin, everything came up bigger pockets. So I didn't even know what it was. I'm like, God, this bigger pockets thing is annoying. Why does it keep coming up? I don't understand it. And then I realized, oh, this is like a blog site and stuff like that. And they got a podcast. So that's how I stumbled on the podcast. And honestly, the beginnings of real estate as well, when I came back at it in 15, was somebody gave me again for the second time, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I read it at 21 and it was like, oh, that's fun. But then I read it again and it's like, aha, now I get it. So that single family, I refinanced, I mentally converted it to an asset in my brain, like, okay, it's not this burden anymore. It's an asset. And I've got experience as a real estate investor. And then I was like, let me buy Burr properties. And I found 4 duplexes from the same seller. 2 were too far gone. And so I bought 2 of the 4 from him. And then, the rest is history.
It's a big step. 1 single family to 2 duplexes, right, in one swoop. Most people have buy 1 single family, buy a duplex, maybe buy a 4-plex. I
think it was subconsciously me saying, I need to go fast here. Cause I didn't know it consciously till I moved to Michigan. And I literally closed like 2 weeks before we moved to Michigan on those duplexes. Wow. But I didn't know at the time that subconsciously, I think I was thinking like, I need to go fast. And like, I was all in, I was ready to go.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I know you help teach people how to get started in real estate. You obviously help people get started with goal setting, get started in masterminds. What's the biggest thing people need to know about joining a mastermind, and what's one thing that you get asked a lot of, hey, what do I need to do to get started with this?
I think the thing about joining a mastermind that feels counterintuitive is that you pay money for access. It's weird. Like Emerge is a little different. Like, okay, I get a course. I see it. I get a login to a course and there's modules. So people resonate with that, right? So that's a little different. But when you join like Ascend or Gobundance, it's not like there's here's the layout of everything that you're gonna do. Like step 1, do this, step 2. You're literally paying to join a room of other people that are like-minded. So it's first jarring in that regard. Like you're used to tangible return for money, right? Like I put $10,000 or $20,000 out there and I get a car or furniture or a laptop or something. Like, what did I get? Well, you got to meet guys. That's it. 10,000, 20,000. I get to meet guys, right? Like that just feels counterintuitive. But what feels even more counterintuitive once you clear that hurdle, and a lot of people do and say, okay, I get it. Let me invest in my community. Average of the 5 people, they read a book, whatever, and they do it. They take the plunge. What feels more counterintuitive to me is now that you're in, to your question about what to know about joining a mastermind, the number one thing you have to do is get out of your head what you're going to get out of it and put in your head, what am I going to give to this? What am I going to contribute to others? So again, I'm paying money for access. Cool. I'm here. Now what? Well, now go help people. It's like, whoa, I paid money to go help people? Yeah, you paid money to go help people. But when you join a like-minded community, whether it's Gobundance or whatever, any type of mastermind, and you start contributing, to people and you're known as that, it's the same thing in life. When you're known generally in your community as somebody who contributes and gives value to others, your life gets a return on that value, not one-to-one, like, oh, I gave Jordan my barbecue to use, so he's going to give me X. But like, I just do that. I have a giving spirit. That giving spirit tends to return to you. When you go into a like-minded community, and I'll specifically speak of Gobundance, where, these are men who are well-connected, very resourceful, have a lot of resources, right? And they return value because you're giving value. I mean, it's partners that are Emmy-nominated writers for The Family Guy. It's going to an owner's suite to watch a baseball game because one of the guys owns a baseball team, a Major League Baseball team that I got to know and added value to. It's stuff like that comes back at you. So the thing to know about joining any like-minded community is you got to get over the hurdle of you're paying money for access. Don't look for the thing, the course, where's the tangible, where's the car, where's the furniture? And then once you're in, where can you add value? That's the number one question. I didn't do that for a year. And it was sort of like almost a throwaway year for me, my first year. And ever since I converted that mindset, like the return has been, and not intentional. I just like adding value to people. It's easy. It's comfortable for most of us to like, oh, I helped somebody. I feel good about that. Go with that and you'll get immense return.
I think that works just generally in life too. If you add value to people, you get a lot back.
100%.
Zig Ziglar say, if you want everything you've ever wanted, help everybody else get everything they've ever wanted. And along those lines, I butchered that, I know, but
No. That's pretty much it. That's exactly it. Right. If you want the whatever. Yeah. If you want to, yeah, it's pretty much what you said.
Okay. So along the lines of masterminds, could you give our listeners some advice on how to find a good mastermind? Of course, they should all come to Gobundance Emerge and go through Ascend and all those things. But
Sure.
if somebody's out there looking for a mastermind, there's a ton of them out there right now. We're getting to that point where there's just tons and tons and tons of masterminds, and all of them are out there selling something. And sometimes they're quite expensive. They're $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. So what should people look for when they're looking at a mastermind?
I think first and foremost, well, there's two things. First and foremost, the question comes up of do I need coaching or a mastermind or a community? So you have to decide that first. Like, do you need somebody that can sit with you once a week or once a month or twice a month or whatever, and go through and coach you one-to-one on what you're going through to get to a certain outcome? That's the first decision. Don't conflate the two, right? Coaching is coaching, one-on-one coaching. A lot of masterminds have group coaching. Ascend has group coaching. But if you need one-to-one coaching and you're trying to decide which to do, make sure you're going down the right path on that. Like, decide coaching your community. Do both if you want. I think both have a I've done both. I do both. Right? I do both in multiple phases. Health coach, relationship coach. Like we have a coach by garden almost. Plus I'm in Gobundance, right? You learn that. Michael Jordan needs a coach, the best in the world, right? Still can't see his own shot. Somebody's got to watch him. So, but yeah, as far as choosing a mastermind, I think one, it has to align with what you are trying to accomplish. So you're not going to join a marketing mastermind if what you're trying to do is buy real estate, right? So make sure it aligns with what you're trying to accomplish. I think two is, how do I want to put it? So know what you're trying to accomplish. And then I think you have to look at, is it curriculum or community? Like, which one's more important? Because the curriculum-based masterminds where you join and there's like an academy, the community is secondary. Like, you have the course and then you get the community, right? That's kind of a merge. You have this course and then you get the community. It's a nice side benefit. The flip of that is, do you want to join just a community where you'll get content through the connection? That's more Gobundance, right? Like, you join the community and then you got these micro tribes and these different expert calls and that sort of thing. So is it a course or a community? And you have to decide which one is more important to you. Do you need the structure of a day-to-day, week-to-week? Do you need that forever? Or do you need just to be around like-minded people? So I think that's the second biggie. Beyond that, honestly, like it's really, try to talk to people that are in that mastermind if you can find them, if you can get connected to some folks there. But yeah, the ones that are well marketed, that are out there, they're probably doing something right. And the other thing I would say to you is this. I guess I would put this way. I don't think that any mastermind does anything for you. Like, I don't think Gobundance has done anything for me, like itself. Like, it hasn't done it for me or you or anybody. And no mastermind, no coach, no whatever is going to do anything for you. So if you're going into a mastermind or a coach or whatever with looking for like, okay, I didn't get the outcome I wanted, you have to look at you and you only. Like, Gobundance, what they do is they give me the ability to meet people that I can learn and grow with to get to the outcomes I want. But if I sit back and I'm waiting for like a what's the word? Like a butler experience in these things, like, that ain't going to happen. So, and again, it's counterintuitive. For 25 grand, some masterminds are 50 grand. You're thinking, oh, great. I'm going to just have to walk in and they're going to walk me through everything. I'm going to be taken through it. No, all you got is access. And now what you do with that access, because other people just plunked down $50,000 and gave themselves 50,000 or 10,000 or 20,000 reasons to be an engaged member of that thing. If you're not at that level, if you're not engaging at the level they are, then it's not on the mastermind, it's on you. Mm-hmm. So that's what I would say. You're paying for access, but it's never the mastermind. Like, when you're thinking like, is this a good one? They're all good. They all have great people. They're willing to put that money down. They're willing to invest in themselves. Those are good people, no matter what level they're investing in themselves at, right? What do you do with it? That's my big question.
Okay. Yeah. So I liked, you talked about, do you need a coach or do you need a mastermind? And I think you can use both all the time. Yep. I think everybody needs a coach. I think everybody also needs some sort of mastermind. At least I do myself. But then when you get into a mastermind, because it's not coaching, you're not having somebody making weekly calls with you. And even with coaching, you can have weekly calls, not do anything your coach says to do and not get any of the results, and say, well, that coaching didn't work. It's no, the coaching works. You just didn't do anything. The same thing with Gobundance. If you don't go, I would say if you don't interact with people and you don't go to the events and you don't get to know people, you're probably not going to have a good time.
Waste. Yeah. It's a waste. I agree. It's buying the house in the neighborhood and then never meeting a neighbor. Doesn't make any sense. Why? You're not even part of that neighborhood. You own the real estate. Good for you. You know? So
I have to stop myself from going to everything they do.
I know.
Being gone all the time. But yeah, I know. If you don't go, you're not getting anything out of it. So Jamie, since I've known you, you've made an amazing transformation. You've gone from having a W-2 to essentially running multiple businesses. What's next for you? What are your long-term goals and what's your vision for your life down the road?
Have you wanted to be part of Gobundance, the tribe of millionaires, but just haven't hit that millionaire status yet? Well, now you can, not even being a millionaire, by joining our new program, Gobundance Emerge. My name's Jamie Gruber, creator of Gobundance Emerge and member of the Gobundance community. And now you can join Gobundance.com/emerge, Gobundance.com/emerge. Use code Jordan for $100 off this 12-week goal-setting program and mastermind that'll propel you to being a whole life millionaire. You know, it's funny. I've come to accept recently, and it's been a hard thing to admit to myself, more so even to say it out loud, that, look, I think I've found that my purpose in life is to inspire and motivate others to live their best life, right? That I ask guests on the podcast, on the Tribe Millionaires podcast, that question, like, when did you accept that your superpower is your superpower? Like, when did you really accept it? And it's so funny. Many of them haven't accepted it until, like Brandon Turner. He's like, yeah, in the last 6 months, you know, really, dude, like, you've been out there, like, we all can see your superpower, but, you know, he can't accept it until only recently. And that's for me, like, that's where I'm going. Like, I'm accepting that. So with that, when I think about, and I've had like Jason Drees, I did a couple coaching sessions with him, who's great. And he opened up this thing in me, like, what's light, what feels aligned, what feels right. I see personal brand as my next step. And personal brand to me means, you know, a platform where I can help people, additional courses that are on point with where people want to go. I really see myself speaking to that 35 to 45-year-old guy, especially women as well, but I'm a guy, right? Who's in that job making 6 figures, but is completely unfulfilled and they don't know why. Maybe it's the job, maybe it's not, maybe it's the role in the company, maybe it's they need to be out of that company altogether, but speaking to, coaching with, retreats with, on stage, speaking to, whatever, that person. So I see my personal brand and specifically tailored to that avatar as the next step for me. That's where I feel the best use of my purpose, which is, again, to inspire and motivate others to live their best life.
Awesome. That's an amazing purpose you've got going on there.
Still feels weird to say.
So I know I see a ton of books back there. Do you have a favorite business or mindset book that you like to recommend to people?
Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill, far and away the best one. Think and Grow Rich takes a long backseat to it. It was written after Think and Grow Rich. It's kind of a precursor to the Think and Grow Rich book, but it's, you know, it was written in the 30s. And back then the idea of the devil was controversial. So they didn't release it until like 2010 or something like that. But it's this interaction Napoleon Hill has, you know, in his head, obviously, but with the devil and truly what the devil's absolute whatever, like the evil the devil truly has. It's not, you know, a tail with a spike on it and burning in hell. Like, that's not his most evil deed. I won't spoiler alert it, but his most evil deed has to deal with our lot in life. And, you know, that, just think about that stuff in your brain that keeps you from going further. Like, he really goes deep on how that's the true devil's work, if you will. I say that with air quotes. It's just a fascinating book. So I recommend that all the time.
I love it. I've never heard of that book. So I would absolutely be ordering that right after. Is that on Amazon? Can you get it, or do you have to like go to a secret society to pull that out?
Knock 3 times. Yep. Give a pint of lamb's blood, the whole nine. No, yeah, it's a well circulated book, but everybody knows Think and Grow Rich. So yeah.
Yeah. I love that book too. Think and Grow Rich is amazing. So Jamie, you know, I think people are going to want to learn more about you and learn more about what you talk about after this podcast. Is there a best way people can get a hold of you or follow you? I know you've got a couple that I can think of. Yeah.
Right now, I'm very much into Instagram. So at the Jamie Gruber on Instagram is the best way. If you want to check out Emerge, you can go to GobundanceEmerge.com. But yeah, if you're looking for me, and you can DM me there at the Jamie Gruber. I'm pretty responsive.
You also have a podcast, which, you know, just telling you, it's one of the only podcasts I listen to anymore. There's so many podcasts. And you also have a podcast. What is that podcast called?
So it's called Tribe of Millionaires, and it's literally the Gobundance podcast. So I'm all Mr. Gobundance here, but Pat Hyben, who's one of the founders, just didn't want to do it anymore. And I love the medium. I love doing it. So he's like, you want to do it? I'm like, yeah. So it's Friday member episodes. So guys like you, Jordan, will be on Fridays, and we'll learn about Gobundance members. And then Tuesdays, I'm bringing in more like prominent non-member guests. So we had like Sean Casey, who's a former 3-time All-Star baseball player. Recently, I interviewed Michael Francis, a former Colombo crime boss in the Colombo crime family, captain in the family. Hal Elrod was just on. Brandon just released recently, as of the time that we're recording this, had him on. Jeff Hoffman, the Priceline founder. Really cool people that we're having on the Tuesday episode. But both of them are designed to just sort of extract, kind of Tim Ferriss, like extract success habits, secrets, all that stuff for people to maybe try in their own life.
Love it. And we'll put that in the show notes too. So the Tribe of Millionaires podcast, awesome podcast. Again, one of the only podcasts I listen to anymore. So you better feel special, Jamie.
I do. I feel very special. Jordan Moorhead says it's one of the only ones he listens to. Very special.
Yeah. All right. Last question here. Most important question we ask. What is your favorite restaurant here in Austin? I know you've been a few times. I've actually had dinner with you at least once here in Austin.
Yeah, 6th Street is the best place to go in Austin for a tourist, I'm sure. There's got people that roll their eyes when they hear that, like, please, 6th Street. But Tacos Juanita, I think was the name of the place that was really, really good. And I told you, I forget the name of the place I was going to go to, and then I had to cancel the trip. But it took like a month and a half to get a reservation. And my pod was down there. My whole entire Gobundance pod went. So they all got to enjoy this. It was like a steak fusion type place. I can't remember the name of it, but I didn't get to go. So like an Asian fusion steak. I don't know. I feel like there was a red building. Maybe I'm picturing that in my head. I don't know. Could be wrong.
Red. It wasn't Red Ash, was it?
Yes. What is that? What is?
It was Red Ash. Red Ash is an amazing Italian restaurant.
Italian.
They do have steak and fish and all sorts of stuff too. It's an amazing Italian restaurant downtown. It can be hard to get into. We've lucked out and walked in and gotten a table a few times. They said, hey, if you eat in an hour, you can have this table.
Get out of here. We looked at so many places. Like you mentioned a sushi place. I thought maybe that was the Asian fusion sushi place we looked at that was hard to get into. But yeah, it was Red Ash. That's why the word red came into my head. Yeah, exactly.
Red Ash is amazing. If anybody gets a chance to go, Tacos Juanita, Red Ash, there's so many good restaurants here in Austin. Listen to these podcasts and you'll get a good restaurant at the end of every episode.
There you go.
Awesome, Jamie. Thank you so much for coming on here. We will put all of the stuff in the show notes of how you can get a hold of Jamie. It's at the Jamie Gruber on Instagram, right?
Yep,
and
correct.
Tribe of Millionaires podcast. Gobundance Emerge. Look up Emerge.
Amazing. Thank you, Matt.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We will talk here soon.